have our second session now, and it is this Dr. Jyoti Schonfelder. Oh, wonderful. I'm so excited. So Jyoti's business name is Adjust Your Mind, and Dr. Jyoti is a trauma-informed holistic chiropractor, author. She's got a new book, international mindset consultant and global speaker based in Singapore. She resides in Bali, lucky her, with her husband, good friend of mine, who is also a chiropractor himself. Despite years of dedicated self-development and healing, Jyoti found herself stuck in persistent patterns that hindered her growth. Determined to break free, she created the Adjust Your Mind. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat, the waiting room. She created the Adjust Your Mind method, a powerful blend of timeless wisdom and modern neuroscience. This practical approach serves as a navigational tool for individuals seeking transformational healing by enhancing self-awareness, brain function, and nervous system regulation. What sets Jyoti's work apart is her unique blend of deep intuitive insight into our true essence, combined with a strong scientific and medical foundation, which I think is really important. And this combination allows her to illuminate limiting patterns and dysfunctions within the brain and nervous system in a way that is both accessible and profound. Committed to empowering her clients, Jyoti guides them toward personal growth, inner strength, peace, and fulfillment. And she is just a wonderful woman. So I'm very excited. I'm going to stop sharing and we will hear from you, Jyoti. Just unmute you.
Thank you, Julie. So happy to be here, and thanks to welcome to everybody joining today and listening to the recording as well. So in our hour together today, I just wanted to start off with just sharing my why. Like, what is it that made me develop this work, and what is it that really brought me to where I am today? And I also wanted to share some of the challenges that I encountered along my way, and that I see often with my clients as well, and a solution that I found. But I don't just want to talk too much. I also really love to share an experience with you today, where I like to share with you what I call a synergy alignment experience, which is basically a neuro-regulating tool that you can use for yourself. So what made me to where I am today? So I had, when I met my husband 26 years ago in Australia, and he was in his last year of his chiropractic studies. I'd never heard of chiropractic before, and he just wanted to share his passion and his skills with me. So we started to adjust my nervous system. I didn't really have any symptoms at that time. However, this led me to two quite profound experiences that I'd like to share with you, because that ultimately led to the development of the Adjust Your Mind method. And the first one was that because I had my spine nervous system regulated, I had a very instant shift of perspective from outside in to inside out. And this happened really quick, like it was an instant shift in perspective. And what do I mean with that? It was like before this event, I was standing on the sideline, merely looking at my life. But my nervous system was just too afraid actually to really join into the game of life. So I felt more like not a participant, but a bystander. And all of a sudden, I found myself in the game of life. I realized I started to connect deeper with myself and with everything around me. And I also had an innate knowing that this was because of chiropractic and regulating my nervous system consistently. Okay, so fast forward, we started a family in Holland, and ultimately we wanted to move back to Australia. We had a family chiropractic practice in Holland, and my husband is from Australia, and I had a job offer in Bali to help set up a chiropractic office there. So we moved there, we thought, for 1 year. We found this cool jungle school for our kids. And we were there for 1 year, and this is 13 years later. So we're still here. But the second quite pivotal change that happened was that I was riding my motorbike through the rice fields of Bali, as you do, that when all of a sudden I had a real deep remembering of who I was. And it was like, it was a very profound experience. And it was a remembering of my true essence and what we all are. And I also realized that this was always there and will always be there. And it was so profound that I didn't really wanted to share it with anybody for the first few months because I was afraid maybe I would lose it. And because I would start to mentalize it. So after a while, I started marinating in it, and I realized that this feeling, this remembering, actually never left. And ever since that day, it's kept deepening and deepening. However, what was really important is that because I started to feel so complete within myself, I started to feel there was no need anymore to complete myself outside of myself. I actually kind of stopped doing anything. So I became quite passive. My nervous system very cleverly kind of encapsulated this experience and thought, at least she's safe. She's not doing anything. And that reminds me of like a saying, I think it was Confucius, old Chinese saying, that goes like, to know and not to do is not to know. So I realized, okay, we don't have what I call our inner technology, our brain, our heart, our body, just to be passive and not doing anything. So we actually we're here to translate that what we are into action. We really have, which I call love in action. And I was clearly missing that part. I wasn't sure how to actually take steps towards expressing my true self and acting upon it. So here I identified a big problem, and that I saw that first in myself, that I noticed that every time I took steps towards realizing what I want, my nervous system was actually blocking the attempts. So my nervous system was actually standing in front of me, and I wanted it to stand next to me, but it wasn't. And because our nervous systems are so deeply wired for survival and safety, and it's 500 million years old, like you're never going to win the battle against it. You have to befriend your nervous system and get it on board if you want to grow and change. And of course, what I realized is that when there is a real threat and your nervous system is protecting you, that's fine. But in my case, it perceived my steps toward my growth and new reality. It was a perceived threat. So it wasn't actually real. So now I realized it needed help from me. I had to show my nervous system that my new reality was safe. And what was really interesting and something that I found out, and this is, of course, the naturally our nervous system is always seeking balance and homeostasis. So often what you love to create, so often your vision is based on a void, on something that you missed, because this is the natural balance, the natural homeostasis. And for example, in my case, I grew up with the average, I would say, immature parents. And I was very much missing a loving presence when I grew up. I felt not being heard. I felt not seen. So what are my desires? Like, what is my heart truly longing for is to show myself, to to speak my truth and to really show my true essence. And all of those things were very, very scary for me. So every time I took steps towards it, my nervous system was standing in front of me. And it does so in the most incredibly clever ways. Like most often you think, oh, this is something external, this is something outside of you, but we're actually such powerful creators that we are creating all of those realities ourselves. And in my case, there was a lot of procrastinations, there was distractions. I even get ill, like I literally completely collapse when I take steps towards doing something I love. I get like fever and headaches, and the only thing I want to do is just hide under 10 blankets. And I would if I wouldn't be living in the tropics where it's really hot. But that's what I want to do. So one thing that I learned that is really quite important, was a real eye-opener for me, is that the more resistance that comes up along the way towards growing and changing, the more you're actually on the right path. Now, I don't know about you, but I always thought that was this kind of hippie, this hippie time where you thought, oh, you have to go with the flow. And if it doesn't really, if it doesn't really work, it's probably not the right thing to do. But I realize now that that's actually not true. Like I feel that the more resistance, the more love there is. So the more resistance, the more you're actually on the right track, which is good news, because you need this resistance to actually grow and change and to get out of your comfort zone. Now, one thing I wanted to say, because really a lot of my work is about growth and change, and a lot of people that I see, and including myself, is that because I was stuck in survival mode for like decades, that people do want to grow and change. And this is something so natural, because everything in nature actually grows, except for us as humans. We often are stuck with limited or no growth. Now, when that is the case, you have to you have to learn how to get your nervous system on board. And your nervous system actually speaks body language. So you have to show your nervous system and not tell. So, for example, just talking to your nervous system often doesn't work, but actually showing it through like an embodied neuro-regulating exercises, you're actually telling your nervous system it's safe. Where we're going now, you might feel it's not safe, but it's actually safe to grow and expand. Now, I just want to share my screen just to show you one slide that I have. So, the question is really, who's in control at this moment? Do you feel that your lower brain centers are in control and you're feeling quite stuck and in survival mode most of the time, which is, quite honestly, most of us are in, for most of us, this is our default pathway is survival. And it's really good that we have those pathways as well, because it's kept you safe for all those years. However, if you're stuck with little or no growth, you're actually doing something that is not natural. And that creates a lot of stress in our nervous systems, because our hearts are really longing for growth and completion, but our nervous system is blocking that. So you can say that one foot is on the gas and one foot is on the brake, which ultimately keeps you stuck. But this creates a lot of tension in your nervous system and in your life. Sometimes I explain it as that you roll a towel one way and the other one the other way. So your whole nervous system is actually in a torque. And this is not a nice way to live. We want to eventually reconnect with those higher brain centers that we also have access to. And if our nervous systems are regulated, it actually is supposed to move back into safety once a threat is over. But for most of us, we're actually chronically in this fight, flight, survival mode. Now, the solution that I found with myself and with others is that, first of all, the work revolves around two key aspects. So it's self-awareness and self-regulation. And by becoming aware, first of all, like, what nervous system state am I in? And is there actually a real threat, or is it just perceived threat? And using that higher brain function, you're able to move out of this state of survival and learning some very simple self-regulating tools, which is basically chiropractic is a strong self-regulating tool, but there is other ways of regulate your nervous system as well that I'd like you to get to know. And the other thing that is really important is that to move from a survive orientation to a thrive orientation, you actually need energy. And it was beautiful because Kat already shared in her session how energy is very important. And I see actually energy as the currency of the universe. And energy is a unit of change. So any change and any growth, you need energy. Energy is what runs the universe. But how do we actually become more energy rich? Because in order for you to change and grow, you actually have to become more energy rich. Now, there is a few ways that you can do that, and Kat already shared with us some ways that she is doing it. And how I do it is that, and this is actually a chiropractic tool, chiropractic philosophy, because what do we do as chiropractors? We actually reconnect you with areas of in your spine that you've stored trauma. Now, we call these areas subluxations, and sub means under and lux means light. So they're literally areas in your nervous system that are underlighted. So they're areas that your brain has disconnected from. Now, how does this happen? And how can we actually access this as to connect with what I call bound energy potential? Because I sometimes see those little areas, subluxations in your spine, I see them as little gold, little gold bowls in your spine. So they are a huge amount of energy potential there that, once freed and released, can actually help you to upgrade your life and to become more energy rich. And of course, if you become more energy rich and you start to vibrate on a higher frequency, you're actually going to match that reality. This is not a philosophy, this is physics, actually. So how are we able to become more energy rich? Now, first of all, I just want to quickly define trauma. So trauma is any event that happened that you were not able to consciously process at that time through your higher brain centers, through your prefrontal cortex and your frontal cortex. So what happens when that happens? You get an information like any event which you can see as external information that is coming at you. And of course, often those traumas happen when you are a little bit younger, so you haven't developed those higher brain centers. So often you don't understand actually what's going on. And if you don't understand what's happening, you're actually storing that information in your spine. Now, first of all, this causes an energetic disruption, so an energetic contraction. And ultimately, this will cause a nervous system change as well, like a change in energy in your nervous system. And then, so it's layered. So you have energy, nervous system, and then often when you start to become a little bit more older, you attach thoughts to it. Oh, sorry, energy, it's emotion. Emotion is the next one. Emotion and then thoughts. And then after that, you get beliefs attached to it, and it becomes your personal reality and your personality. So trauma actually is your persona, means your mask. Your personality is actually a compensation pattern that you've adopted in a really, really amazingly clever way to protect yourself. Now, these areas of subluxations, they ultimately also develop pain. So these are the areas where you often feel like a higher tension in tone, or where pain starts to develop, which is fantastic, because that means that you're going to address it. Because if there would be no pain or any other form of dis-ease, you would never address those areas. And ultimately, life is designed to stay energy rich and to grow and develop, and to really be and live the best versions of ourselves for the greatest good of ourselves and others, so we can really contribute. So you get pain or some sort of dis-ease, and then you start to connect with those areas. And what we do as chiropractors, and what I do with the Adjust Your Mind method, is that we're actually consciously connecting with those areas that you have denied, those areas that you have numbed and avoided, and really consciously connecting with that in a very safe way, in a way that you can really reconnect those parts of you back to yourself again. Because really, that's where the split happens. That's where the illusion happens of separation. When you start to be split, and different parts of you start to be disconnected from your brain. So we want to send those parts of you back home, so you can become more energy rich, more whole, and you're able to live that expanded version of yourself that we're ultimately all longing for. Now, so energy is released. So when you start to connect with those subluxations, those underlighted areas of yourself, energy is released, and that energy can be used to upgrade and up-level your life. And what happens is that also new neural pathways are formed, and they will, set the stage for new growth and learning. And the other thing that I wanted to share was that the brain and your nervous system really is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. Now, what do I mean by that? The unseen is this huge energy field that, some people call it a quantum field, or even just a field, or a field of possibilities. We, as chiropractors, we call it universal intelligence, but we all have access to this incredibly intelligent field. It does not judge. It does not prefer to give more to one over the other. It always gives 100%, and it's always there, and it will always be there. However, how you receiving this universal intelligence, because you're actually receiving it from above down, inside out, depends on how your nervous system is wired. So if you're chronically in survival, you're not able to receive this incredible information and energy that is available to you. Like you're just not able to receive this information, because energy is also information. So if your nervous system is not able to receive like a higher level complex information, it's simply not happening. So we want to level up our brain and move out of survive in order for us to receive this incredibly intelligent source of energy. And yeah, that is basically what my work does. So I'd like to now, just to, because I feel I've been talking already a little bit too long almost, I'd like to just share with you the essence of the Adjust Your Mind method. And after that will be a couple of minutes. After that, we'll just dive into an experience of it so you can feel it for yourself. Well, the essence is really to regulate your nervous system, and in order for you to rewire your brain and to engage those higher neural pathways. And what we are doing, we're creating safety in our nervous system. We're befriending our nervous system by demonstrating that new experiences are actually safe to experience. And we're also learning to connect with our using our self-awareness, connect with those unconscious patterns and those subluxations that are stored in our body and nervous system. And by integrating and really connecting with those subluxations, we have access to an incredible amount of bound energy potential that we'll be able to set free and release for you to increase your bandwidth. So you're increasing the bandwidth in your nervous system. So you're able to receive more complex and higher energy. And ultimately, it will, reorganize your nervous system to process this more complex information and energy. Because like the level of development that we have access to at this moment is actually they're all like, it's all there. Like there is a like quite high levels of development available to us, but as a human species, like we're kind of at a level of development that is more like a social level of development. That's why we are really in this survive pattern at the moment, but we are able to move out of that, which is good news. Okay, well, so just like to invite everybody to stay keep your eyes open for now, because I just want to show you some hand positions that I like suggested hand positions that I use during this alignment process. So position number one is just right here on the top of your chest. So you can just, to increase the surface area, just place both of your hands on there, and you can even just place your elbows a little bit out so you can really feel that area. So it's the upper chest region, your lungs. And then position number two is the heart region, just over your nipple line, which is this region. And the position number three is the diaphragm and stomach area. And position number four is the navel region. I can't stand up to show you because then I disappear. I tried that before. Look, I don't think you can see me now. So I'm just going to guide you through it. So position number four is the navel region. And then we have the lower abdomen region, or lower belly. And position number six is your throat area. Okay, so make yourself comfortable, and if that feels good for you, you can just gently close your eyes. And just really feel your two sitting bones firmly grounded on your chair. Feeling your feet on the ground. Taking a deep breath in and out. Arriving here in your body, in this moment. Allowing gravity to anchor you to your seat. And connecting with the safety of this gravitational pull. And we're setting a clear intention now to receive the benefit of today's practice and to be fully present with whatever arises for the highest good of yourself and others. And we're setting a clear intention now to be open to receive information from those higher brain centers, possibly from beyond your senses and preconceived ideas. Now we're just starting with placing your hands on your upper chest, which is the position number 1. Keep your eyes closed and breathe in and out through your nose. And just notice, how is it feeling in here? What is the energetic tone here? Is it feeling peaceful or connected? Or do you feel disconnected, low in energy, possibly restricted? And just notice without any judgment. Simply observe and move your hands to position number 2, so on your nipple line. Take a deep breath into this area and just receiving information from this area. How is it feeling here? Can you connect with the energy tone in this area? And just observe. Placing your hands on your diaphragm. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. And how is it feeling here? It might feel a little bit jittery or nervous. Or does it feel energy poor? Or possibly connected and peaceful? Moving your hands to your navel. Scanning your body. Checking in. Staying curious and compassionate. And place your hands on your lower belly. And now determine an area where you felt most energy rich, most peaceful and most connected. And place your hands on that area. Just becoming aware of the sensations in this area. Becoming aware again of the energetic tone. And you now imagine expanding this energy towards the front of your body. and imagine extending this energy towards the back of your spine. Connecting you with this unlimited energy source that is always available to you. And while you feel more expanded in this area, you now imagine receiving energy and information that is pouring into your brain, enlightening your whole brain, forming new synapses. And that energy is becoming so light and so full that you imagine it's pouring out from the top of your brain into your spine, filling your whole spine with golden light. Your brain is getting now so light and so full. Take another few breaths in here. You're now placing your hands on the area that you determined as least connected and least peaceful. Energy poor. And just observe the sensations in this area. Staying present with them without the need to change them in any way. And just observe your tendency to want to move away from these subluxated areas in your body. Just observe your tendency. You might want to numb them, deny them, ignore them. But for now, you're staying fully present with them. And just name and connect with the energy in this area. Is it energy poor? Neutral? Do you feel any tension or heaviness in this area? Any pain? You might have an emotion arise. Now extend your awareness to the back of your spine. How is it feeling there? Are you able to connect with that area in your spine? Are you able to direct your breath to that area? And imagine now to unwind and surrender these emotions and these feelings. Connecting and releasing that bound energy potential that is stored there. Connecting with those underlighted areas of yourself to become more energy rich and to become more of you. Now, while you're here, you keep one hand where it is now and place the other hand back to the area that felt most connected and peaceful. And alternate your breath in both those areas. You're now holding both perspectives at the same time. And you're acknowledging that you're made up of more than one part. Parts that feel connected and peaceful and energy rich, and parts that feel disconnected, contracted, and energy poor. Accepting now all parts of you, all is welcome. Now, from this higher perspective, using your higher brain centers, you look at those subluxated parts of you, and you imagine that this released stored energy is now freed. And it's finding its way through your body, through your breath, forming new synapses and pathways in your brain, allowing your brain to receive more energy and more information, allowing for new experiences to happen and new learning easily and effortlessly for the highest good of yourself and others. Now, before you open your eyes, imagine yourself in a sphere of light, bright light. You feel safe and protected in this sphere of light. And imagine that a beam of light is emerging from your tailbone, extending all the way down into the earth, anchoring you safely to the earth. And imagine a light extending from the top of your spine, connecting you with universal intelligence, with this field of possibilities, this limitless energy source that is always available to you. Take another few breaths here, and when you're ready, you can gently and slowly open your eyes. And before we get to some of the questions that Julie will be asking, I just wanted to share my screen once more. And just share with you some of the, I don't know if you can take a screenshot of it, just some of the additional like self-regulating tools that we all have available to us at all times. And important to know is that we're actually now speaking with our nervous system. So we're showing our nervous system it's safe. We're not telling it, but we're showing it. And we're actually training our nervous system. And it really needs help from us, from our higher brain centers, to stand next to us on our way to express our full purpose in this life. Now we have, of course, chiropractic and any other forms of body work. I find also singing, humming, and the woo sound very beneficial, because with the singing and the humming, you're actually vibrating those nerve endings, and you're actually telling those nerve endings it's safe. Box breathing exercises or any breath exercise. I'm excited to learn from Monica in her session how she uses breath to balance the nervous system. Exercise, dancing, walking, nature, emotional freedom technique, which is like tapping. Lots of sleep, pause and rest, which I love. Meditation, relaxation. And shaking is a really great neuroregulator. and swaying, and especially like humming and swaying at the same time. Nature and sunshine. And the other thing is like you can self-regulate, but there is also something like co-regulation. So I find animals really great co-regulators. That's why I've got 3 puppies at home at the moment, and a dog and a cat, and I love my animals, and they're just great neuroregulators. And of course, your friends, other people, connecting with other people is in that way you're co-regulating. And I want to just show you this tone, which I love. It's from one of my teachers. His name is Tony Epstein. He's a chiropractor, and he's really amazing. The shape, the tone, and the quality of your nervous system determines the shape, tone, and quality of your life. So it's always an inside-out process. And then lastly, I wanted to share for all the participants here who don't have already, they can share this scan this QR code, and I'd like to offer my ebook. If you share this, you will get an email with a link to download my ebook.
We can maybe put that in the chat as well later on, couldn't we, Yoti? So if people...
Oh, we can.
Yeah, if they don't have to have phone handy or...
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat, and I'll stop sharing now.
You won't miss out. Wow, what a session. I've written so many notes. Completeness, powerful creators, distractions I really relate to. The resistance. Oh, I had almost some tears because I know when I fight so hard and I resist, and they're the best events or days or things that you do, even though they're difficult. So I really related to that. Self-regulation. Oh, yeah, so much leveling up. I think we all would love to level up. Yeah, and how pain and disease can offer us something like an insight. It's like it's actually calling our awareness. Oh, so many. And I love the gold, the subluxations, seeing them as gold nuggets or gold gems and sparkling gold. I really relate to that. So if anyone has questions, please put them in the chat. I've got a couple of questions for Yoti as well, but I'd love to hear from the others if any of you would like to ask her more. I'm loving how the sessions are interconnecting, even though we didn't plan it that way, like Pat's and yours, and I'm sure with Monica. I have to let everyone know that sadly, Sophie, our next presenter, won't be live with us. She will be able to do a recording. She's had a medical emergency of a friend, so she's very beautifully supporting somebody, and it was literally a last minute emergency is why she can't be here. So we're all sending her our love and support. After this session, we'll move on straight on to Monica. Thank you, Yoti. Someone has a question. Lucy Mitchell, please. Yes, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, Jyoti.
Hi, beautiful.
I love. It's not really a question. I think it's just a comment. Like one of the things that really stood out to me in your session just now was, you got into that state at one point in life where you just wanted to go with the flow, and then you realized at one point that you weren't actually creating, that you weren't really doing anything. And I was thinking about that because I'm a bit the opposite, like I'm such a doer. And so it's almost like my mantra now is actually it has to ease and flow. And I'm aware of resistance, but I'm really consciously like wanting to lean into where it's easy and flowing. And it seems almost a bit the opposite of what you're saying was your case. And I'm just curious about that in terms of, what kind of, what's going on with the neuro part of it. It's probably no easy answer. We're all just different, aren't we? But I noticed that.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Lucy. That is a great question. What I know with the nervous system is that it works it's hierarchical. So you've got a nervous, like the survival states are basically you've got the dorsal vagus nerve that is kind of, you're really stuck in kind of a like a passive stuckness, and this is an area that I really know very well. And to move out of that, you actually you have to go through fight flight. So that means the lower one, you're really low in energy, and moving up that ladder in order to move to like the ventral, like the thrive pathways, you're kind of moving up the ladder. So for me, the next step was actually connecting with that fight flight area, which had more action to it. So it's that action part. But it sounds like you are already in that. So you're already in that kind of almost like a fight flight, because you have a lot more energy available to you than when you're in like complete shutdown in dorsal, which dorsal is actually the oldest pathway. So you are already kind of one level up and quite close to that to that ventral state. So in your case, yes, I would definitely, I think the relaxation and the regulating your nervous system is just a really good a good way to move forward and to really engage those higher and thrive neural pathways. But it doesn't mean that you have to be really passive and completely stop doing, but it will probably have a different quality to it. As in, it's not like a doing in this kind of fight flight kind of doing where you're constantly moving forward to the next thing, but it's like a doing where you're staying a lot more present, and actually a doing from a lot more of a regulated nervous system state. And of course, you use awareness in this case, like where am I actually coming from? So self-awareness and self-regulation as the two key ingredients in this journey. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that kind of relates a bit to the question I was going to ask, which was
Yeah,
what steps
that makes
can
sense.
someone...
That feels right, like the self-regulation. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, what steps can someone take to start identifying and shifting their nervous system from that survival mode to a more empowered state? So those steps, you know, we all seek them, don't we?
Yeah, and oh, sorry too. I think there's a little bit of a delay. Yeah, and because I was actually going to speak to that before, but then I didn't have enough time. But there is definitely ways that you can really recognize in what nervous system state you're in. Are you stuck and in that real dorsal vagus state, which is the oldest strategy of your nervous system to keep you safe? So it's really important to know that there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually really great that we have those strategies, but if we're stuck in them, and it becomes chronic, then it's really limiting your growth. So a regulated nervous system can move in between those nervous system states really quickly. So that oldest nervous system state is really like that kind of deep rest state that you're in. It's like you want to hide and there's nobody home. It's like complete disassociation. And it is the lowest energy state. So there is hardly any energy available when you're in this state. And you're actually using all your energy to just survive, basically. And then the one level up is the fight flight, where you have more energy available and you have that kind of, you have more energy to either fight yourself or flee your way out of danger. But and the freeze state is very much, the stuck state is very much here, where I spoke about 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake. That's really very much a fight flight. Like I can't, I want to, I don't want to. You know, like you don't know where you're going. There's no clarity, but you've got all this energy in your system, and the end result is that you stay stuck. And then, of course, the Thrive pathway is the highest pathway, is the ventral vagus nerve, where you are, you feel peaceful, you feel connected, you're able to connect with yourself and others, and you're able to, really think. You think clearly. about what you love to create.
Oh, clarity. Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to reading your new book. And of course, we have, like I've mentioned before, all the presenters have offers which will come in an email after the event. We will say goodbye now to Dr. Jyoti. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.